US military just made a move that's shaking up the entire world of small arms. A major shift. After decades of relying on the trusted 5.56 and 7.62 NATO rounds, there's a new king in town. Not a modification, not a niche specialty cartridge, but an all-out replacement. The old debate about smaller bullets for more ammo versus bigger rounds for more stopping power? That debate just got sidelined completely. The brass didn't pick a side. They rewrote the rules. This isn't just a caliber swap. It's a massive recalibration of how the American infantry engages threats on the battlefield. The era of spraying and praying is winding down. It's now about precision, range, and sheer stopping power. That new era starts with one cartridge, the 6.8 by 51 mm, also known in the civilian world as the .277 Sig Fury. This round is no compromise. It's not a slightly hotter 5.56, and it's not just a trimmed-down 7.62. It's an entirely new breed. It's throwing a 140-grain bullet at roughly 3,000 feet per second. That's nearly double the muzzle energy of a standard 5.56 round. And the kicker? It's doing all that while operating at a blistering 80,000 psi chamber pressure. That's not a typo. Most military rifle rounds operate around 60,000. This is punching into a whole new class. To handle that extreme pressure, the cartridge uses a hybrid case, steel base and brass body. That's not just a gimmick. The steel base prevents the case from rupturing under intense pressure, while the brass body still allows for reliable extraction. Without that engineering, the round wouldn't just be powerful, it would be dangerous. But with it, it's controlled aggression in a chamber. And this isn't power for power's sake. This cartridge was designed to meet one very real, very modern threat: adversaries equipped with serious armor. Level 3 and 4 plates are becoming common, and the old 5.56 just isn't up to the task. Reports from the field have shown it over and over. Multiple hits to center mass on an armored target, and the enemy keeps fighting. That's not a problem with soldier skill. That's physics. The round just doesn't have enough juice. The 6.8 by 51 changes that dynamic entirely. It brings energy, velocity, and penetration to the fight, out to 600 meters and beyond. At 1,000 yards, it's still hitting harder than 5.56 does at 5. That's game-changing. Infantry squads no longer have to rely on volume to achieve terminal results. Now, 1 or 2 hits can end a fight. That alone transforms combat doctrine. It shifts the entire focus from how fast you can lay down fire to how accurately you can deliver it. When a single round has that kind of authority, tactics evolve. Fire teams can engage from greater distances without losing lethality. Cover and concealment suddenly work in their favor, not just the enemy's. Suppression becomes smarter, more efficient. Squads can maneuver knowing they have real punch behind each shot, even at extended ranges. That kind of assurance boosts morale and shifts the psychology of the fight. Targets that used to require coordinated volleys can now be neutralized with precision. And with better hit probability, troops spend less time exposed. It's not just a step up in firepower, it's a step up in survivability. There's a newfound confidence when soldiers know they're carrying rounds that don't just poke holes, but stop threats cold. And that changes how they think under pressure. They're not reacting, they're deciding. It's no longer about overwhelming with numbers. It's about asserting control with fewer, more deliberate actions. When the fight begins, having that kind of edge means everything. And from the brass down to the boots, that advantage is being felt across the board. And yeah, the recoil is more than the 5.56. But it's still manageable. It's not a shoulder destroyer like a full 7.62 battle rifle. It's sitting right in the sweet spot. More kick, but not too much for trained shooters to control. That's crucial when you're firing from unstable positions, under stress, on the move. What really sets this round apart, though, is how it stacks up against its predecessors. Take the 5.56 NATO. Light, fast, minimal recoil. That round was built for jungle warfare, close quarters, and high ammo counts. Great in its time. But times have changed. Threats have changed. And most importantly, armor has changed. The 5.56 starts dropping hard after about 300 meters. It's fast, but it loses steam quickly. Then there's the 7.62 NATO. Powerful, yes. Carries weight and recoil to match. It's got punch out to 800 meters, sure, but it's heavy. Each round weighs about 25 grams, and you can't carry as many. The recoil's in the neighborhood of 17 foot-pounds, which starts to matter in full auto or rapid-fire situations. That kind of recoil adds up fast, especially when you're in dynamic movement or firing from unsupported positions. Over time, it wears on the shooter. Slower follow-up shots, reduced accuracy, and increased fatigue. Plus, the weight adds another layer. Every extra ounce matters when you're hauling gear through rough terrain. And when you're limited in how many rounds you can carry, every trigger pull becomes a bigger decision. The platform itself also tends to be bulkier, making transitions between targets slower and less fluid. In close quarters, that matters. In mountainous regions, that matters. Even for seasoned troops, the 7.62's punch comes at a physical cost. And on top of that, maintaining tight shot groups becomes harder under sustained fire. It's not just about the first shot, it's about the third, the fifth, the 10th. Heat builds up. Muzzle climb becomes more of a factor. And when you factor in the realities of combat, adrenaline, movement, stress, the heavier platform becomes less forgiving. It's still a workhorse, no doubt, but it's a workhorse built for a different kind of war. In today's fights, agility matters just as much as power. And that's where the 7.62 starts to feel its age. It's got muscle, but it lacks finesse. The battlefield has evolved, and now so has the tech. That's why the next step wasn't just about matching the 7.62, it was about outclassing it entirely. Now here's the kicker. The 6.8 by 51 matches 7.62 for weight and recoil, even slightly edging it out in muzzle energy, but delivers way more performance downrange. Soldiers will be carrying fewer rounds, sure, but they'll need fewer to win the fight. It's not about throwing 30 rounds anymore, it's about landing 5 that count. That change in philosophy is at the heart of this shift. It's no longer about overwhelming with lead, it's about surgical hits from farther out, and it doesn't stop at the bullet. The rifle platform is brand new too. Meet the M7 rifle, set to replace the M4A1 for frontline troops. It uses a short-stroke gas piston system, which is a big departure from the classic direct impingement setup on the AR. And there's a good reason for that. These rounds run hot and hard. You need a platform that can take the punishment. On top of that, it comes factory-equipped with an integrated suppressor. That means less muzzle flash, less sound signature, and way better communication for squads under fire. Ergonomically, it still feels familiar to anyone trained on AR-style rifles, so the learning curve isn't steep, but the performance, a whole different animal. Then there's the M250, the new belt-fed machine gun that's replacing the M249. It's lighter, has built-in recoil mitigation systems, and sends those 6.8 by 51 mm rounds downrange with authority. Out past 600 meters, this thing still defeats body armor. That turns the squad automatic weapon from just a suppressive tool into a real precision support weapon. And it's not just about hardware. Training is changing too. Live fire ranges at Army posts are being extended out to 1,500, even 1,800 meters in some places. Soldiers are being trained for longer distance engagements with more accurate fire. That means new shooting disciplines, less reliance on mag dumps at close range, and way more focus on deliberate, effective hits. They're also being trained on the XM157 fire control optic. That's not just a fancy name for a scope. This thing is a ballistic computer. It calculates range, drop, wind, and environmentals in real time. It's like having a sniper's spotter and a weather station in your optic. Paired with the 6.8x51, it gives soldiers an insane increase in hit probability, even under stress. It's no longer point and shoot. It's operate and execute. The shooter is now a systems operator, managing a full data-driven combat platform. And yes, there's less ammo in each loadout. Soldiers aren't carrying hundreds of rounds like before. But each round counts more. And when they see what this thing does to a steel plate at 700 meters, the confidence level spikes. That kind of psychological edge, the knowledge that your rifle will reach farther and hit harder than the enemy's, that matters in a firefight. That wins fights before they even start. Of course, whenever the military changes caliber, the civilian world pays attention. The .277 Sig Fury is the commercial twin of the 6.8x51, and it's already available. And make no mistake, it's a monster. High ballistic coefficient bullets, flat trajectories, and devastating energy at long range. Hunters and precision shooters are already eyeing it for big game at long distances. Elk, moose, hogs. This cartridge takes them down clean, even when other rounds start to fall short. But this performance doesn't come cheap. That hybrid steel and brass case is complex to manufacture. It's not as simple as turning out traditional brass. And because of that, prices are high for now. Rifle platforms are limited too. A few bolt guns, some of SIG's cross-series rifles, and that's about it. At least for now. Reloading is technically possible, but tricky. That steel head changes the game, and handloaders are still figuring out the best way to get consistent results. It's not beginner-level gear. But for those who get it dialed in, it's a whole new playing field. And don't let the myths cloud the reality. This is not a weak round because it's a smaller caliber. It outperforms 7.62 in energy, velocity, and armor penetration. It's not old tech dressed up in new clothes. It's not recycled from World War II. It's cutting-edge hybrid case science running at insane pressures. And no, it's not a solution in search of a problem. Ask any soldier who's had to dump a mag of 5.56 into a plated target to little effect. This round fills a real and pressing need. Weight? Sure, it's heavier per round. But again, you need fewer. And this isn't about long, dragged-out exchanges anymore. This is about quick, decisive action. Delivering impact where it counts. Less ammo, more effect. The big picture? This isn't just a new bullet. It's the first domino in what could be a total rethinking of how military small arms work. Other branches of the U.S. military are watching closely. If this performs the way early results suggest, wider adoption is almost guaranteed. The only big challenge ahead is NATO standardization. For decades, the alliance ran on 5.56 for one reason: logistics. Everybody used the same mags, the same ammo, the same resupply chain. That's now out the window. The 6.8x51 doesn't just require different weapons. It demands new manufacturing processes. If it catches on, other NATO countries will either have to make their own hybrid ammo or go another direction entirely. And that opens up a whole new frontier. If this hybrid case tech scales up and proves durable, it could breathe new life into classic calibers. Imagine a .308 or .243 built for 80,000 psi, with better velocity, flatter trajectory, and more downrange impact. That's the direction things are headed. So the story here isn't just about replacing two legacy rounds. It's about what comes next. About how small arms are entering a new era where performance isn't just good. It's optimized, data-backed, Designed for the threats of tomorrow, not the ones from 50 years ago. This new caliber is changing everything. From the cartridge to the optic, the rifle to the range, the mission to the mindset. Precision is in. Power is in. And the days of relying on outdated ballistics? They're numbered. Selling even one of these guns could be the most expensive quick cash decision you ever make. Because once they're gone, you may never be able to afford getting them back. In 2025, guns are more than tools or toys. They're rolling pieces of history, mechanical art, and in many cases, better long-term stores of value than what's sitting in your savings account. Some of them are tied to legendary wars, others to elite special operations, and a few look so unassuming that people trade them away for pennies, only to realize years later they let a future classic slip through their fingers. This list is about preventing that regret. If you own any of these 17 firearms, think twice, maybe 3 times, before you ever consider selling. Let's start with a rifle that literally packs itself away and floats if you drop it in the lake. The Henry AR-7 survival rifle looks like something you might toss in a trunk and forget about. But that's exactly why it's dangerous to underestimate. Designed by Eugene Stoner, the same mind behind the AR-15 platform, the AR-7 was originally intended as a compact survival rifle for downed Air Force pilots. It breaks down into barrel, receiver, and magazine, and every piece locks into its hollow buttstock, shrinking the whole thing into a 16-inch package that's light, watertight, and buoyant. If the AR-7 is the quiet survival hero, the Marlin 336 is the lever-action icon you'll kick yourself for selling the moment deer season comes around. Introduced in 1948, the 336 has anchored American hunting camps for generations. With its classic .30-30 chambering, rugged construction, and fast-cycling lever action. Modern iterations with stainless steel and laminate stocks add weather resistance without losing that old-school charm. And features like ghost ring sights and optics rails bring it right into the 2025 hunting world. Now, imagine holding a piece of World War II history that still shoots, as well as many modern rifles. That's the Karabiner 98K. The Kar 98K was the standard-issue German rifle in World War II, chambered in the hard-hitting 7.92 by 57 Mauser. It's known for its rugged reliability, smooth bolt, and battlefield accuracy, and a good, unmolested example carries both historical and financial weight. Every year, more of these rifles get sporterized, parted out, or locked away in permanent collections. From battlefield history to classic wheelgun elegance, the Smith & Wesson Model 25-2 is exactly the kind of revolver that looks old school to some and irreplaceable to others. Introduced in the 1950s as a target revolver in .45 ACP, it rides on the beefy end frame and feeds from half-moon or full-moon clips, giving you quick reloads with a big-bore cartridge that's still widely available today. Speaking of revolvers with soul, the Colt Diamondback is one of those guns that people used to walk past in display cases and now hunt for like buried treasure. Built from the mid-1960s to the late 80s, the Diamondback came in .22 LR and .38 Special, with barrel lengths from snub-nose carry to 6-inch target configurations. It wears a ventilated rib, full underlug, wide hammer, and fully adjustable sights, giving it a sleek baby python aesthetic that's become hugely desirable with collectors. Now, what if you're more into modern carry pistols than wood and blued steel? Even then, some modern designs are aging into future classics, and the CZP-10C is a prime example. Launched to go head-to-head with the king of compact duty pistols, the Glock 19, the P-10C came out swinging with a crisp trigger, excellent ergonomics, and a 15+1 capacity in 9mm. On the complete other end of the handgun spectrum sits the H&K Mark 23, a pistol so overbuilt it almost feels like a dare. Developed for U.S. Special Operations Command, this 45 ACP monster was designed around extreme reliability, brutal endurance testing, and suppressed use in the harshest conditions. We're talking about a gun that endured tens of thousands of rounds in testing, with match-grade accuracy and a threaded barrel ready for serious work. If you sell one, you're not just selling a gun, you're giving up a piece of elite military design philosophy that's unlikely to ever be duplicated in the same way again. If you appreciate revolvers but want something more practical, versatile, and still collectible, the Smith & Wesson Model 686 hits that sweet spot. Introduced in 1980 and built on the stainless L frame, the 686 handles full house .357 Magnum while still being comfortable enough to shoot soft .38 Special all day. Its corrosion-resistant construction, adjustable sights, and balanced weight made it a favorite of law enforcement officers and serious shooters alike. Over time, the 686 line has branched into multiple barrel lengths and configurations, but across the board, it has held a reputation for reliability and shootability. Let's move from handguns to shotguns that you'll absolutely miss when you need something that just works. The Beretta 1301 is a semi-automatic 12-gauge that has become a go-to choice for law enforcement, competitors, and serious home defense shooters. Its gas-operated system cycles fast, keeps recoil manageable, and keeps you on target for quick follow-up shots, all while staying compact and maneuverable. Next up is a pistol that has already written its name into service pistol history, the SIG Sauer P226. Introduced in the 1980s, the P226 was built for durability, accuracy, and high capacity, with a double-stack magazine and a double-action, single-action trigger system. It became a serious contender in military trials and went on to be adopted by elite units and law enforcement agencies around the world. Now consider the Mossberg 590, a pump-action shotgun with a reputation for toughness that borders on legendary. Often used by military and police, the 590's heavy-walled barrel, dual-action bars, and generous magazine tube make it a serious choice for defense and duty. Ambidextrous safety placement, simple manual of arms, and a host of configurations, from plain bead sight guns to fully set-up tactical models, make it incredibly adaptable. Of course, any list like this has to include the Remington 870. Introduced in 1950, the 870 is one of the best-selling pump shotguns in history, with millions produced and used for hunting, sport, law enforcement, and home defense. Its steel receiver, dual-action bars, and strong aftermarket support have made it a true build-it-your-way platform. Climbing up into full-power battle rifle territory, the H&K G3 sits as one of the most influential 7.6 2x51 NATO rifles ever fielded. Developed in the 1950s and widely adopted across the globe, the G3 uses a roller-delayed blowback system that helped define H&K's future rifle designs. Millions have been produced, licensed, and exported, making it a staple in Cold War and post-Cold War conflicts. For collectors and enthusiasts, a genuine G3, or high-quality civilian clone, isn't just a shooter. It's a representation of an era of robust steel and wood battle rifles that modern lightweight platforms simply don't replicate. If the G3 represents one branch of battle rifle evolution, the FNS-CARH, also known as the MK-17, represents the slick, modular, modern counterpart. Built for U.S. Special Operations, chambered in 7.62 by 51 NATO, and using a short-stroke gas piston, the SCAR-H delivers reliability in harsh conditions with excellent accuracy. Its folding, adjustable stock, fully ambidextrous controls, and monolithic rail system make it adaptable to nearly any mission profile or shooter preference. Then there's the AR-15, the most modular rifle platform in civilian hands today. Originally introduced in the late 1950s and evolving through decades of military and commercial use, the AR-15 has become a blank canvas for shooters. Calibers, barrel lengths, triggers, stocks, nearly every component can be swapped, upgraded, or tuned to specific roles, from precision shooting to home defense to competition. That flexibility, combined with a vast ecosystem of aftermarket parts, means a well-set-up AR-15 isn't just a rifle. It's your rifle, built around your preferences. Right behind it in legendary status is the AKM, the modernized stamped receiver evolution of the original AK-47. Built to be lighter, easier, and cheaper to mass produce, while retaining the AK's bomb-proof reliability in harsh conditions, the AKM became the standard rifle for countless countries. Chambered in 7.62 by 39, it strikes a balance between manageable recoil, solid terminal performance, and practical range. The AKM's global spread and cultural presence are unmatched, but that doesn't mean good examples are easy to find. And finally, there's the Glock 17, the pistol that changed everything. Introduced in the early 1980s, this full-size 9mm with a polymer frame and striker-fired action redefined what a duty handgun could be. It brought high capacity, lightweight, corrosion resistance, and simple operation into one package that police and militaries around the world embraced. The Safe Action system keeps the manual of arms straightforward while still incorporating multiple internal safeties. With a standard 17-round magazine, excellent parts availability, and a reputation for surviving round counts that would choke other pistols, the Glock 17 has become the benchmark against which other service pistols are judged. They're chapters of firearms history, trusted tools in bad situations, and, in many cases, appreciating assets. Once they leave your hands, they may never come back, at least not for a price or in a condition you'll be happy with. Hold on to them now, and years from today, you won't just be glad you kept the gun, you'll be glad you kept the story, the history, and the value that came with it. You want the cold truth about .357 Magnum lever action rifles? Here it is. Some of these guns are way more likely to get you in trouble than out of it. Forget the old stories of flawless cowboy carbines and silk smooth actions, because today we're diving straight into the lever guns that may just leave you jammed, fumbling, and regretting your purchase when it matters most. Picture this. You're standing on the range, or maybe you're out in the field with your heart pounding from the chase. Your target appears. You rack the lever, ready for action, and nothing. The action grinds. The round won't chamber. Or worse, your magazine jams. Instead of that slick, fast lever action you imagined, you're faced with a frustrating mess. Too dramatic? Unfortunately, not for the unlucky souls who've bought one of our top 5 most unreliable .357 lever rifles. Let's make sure you aren't next. Starting at number 5, let's talk about a rifle that lured in a ton of shooters with cowboy looks, and a price tag that doesn't blow up your bank account. The Rossi R 92.357 Magnum. On paper, this rifle checks every box. Winchester 1892. Styling, stainless or blued finishes? Classic wood furniture? Absolutely. Affordability? You bet. But here's where things start to get dicey. Rack the lever on a brand new R92, and instead of smooth cycling, you might feel like you're dragging the action through a gravel pit. And don't even get us started on .38 special rounds. This rifle seems to hate them, often misfeeding, stovepiping, or just outright jamming at the most inconvenient moments. Sure, some might say you should just slick it up with aftermarket springs or a homebrew polish job. But think about it. Should you really have to break out your toolbox and worry about DIY upgrades for a gun that's supposed to be ready out of the box? You want a reliable lever action, not a project rifle. And here's the kicker. Quality control with Rossi is like rolling the dice. Some people nag a smooth shooting gem, others wind up with a lemon that leaves a sour taste that might be okay if you're only plinking at the range. But if you're relying on this rifle for hunting or self-defense, that lack of reliability can bite hard. And the sights? Let's just say that unless you enjoy straining your eyes, you'll be looking at aftermarket options pretty soon. Now, the R92 does have its charms. It offers lightweight, nimble handling, and that undeniable cowboy appeal. If you're the kind of shooter who enjoys tinkering, you might take pride in fixing the flaws yourself. But be honest, shouldn't a good lever action be smooth, reliable, and a pleasure to shoot straight out of the box? For those seeking peace of mind, this one will probably leave you frustrated. Buyer beware. Not all lever guns with vintage looks deliver vintage performance. Moving on to number 4, the Henry Big Boy Classic in .357 Magnum is the definition of looks can be deceiving. You'd be hard-pressed to find a rifle more beautiful, with its polished brass receiver shining like a trophy, and its smooth American walnut stock drawing admiring looks at every show and range. Henry's craftsmanship is legendary, and you can feel the pride of American manufacturing in every detail. But if you believe this rifle is made for hard use, think twice. Let's knock out the big problem first. This rifle is heavy, over 8.5 pounds, in a class where competitors often shave off a full pound or more. Carry this through the woods or out on a long hunt, and you'll start to feel that weight turning from charming to a flat-out burden. And the loading system? No side gate. Instead, you fumble with the underbarrel tube, forcing you to pull out the inner tube, drop rounds in one at a time, and carefully slide everything back. Try doing that in cold weather or when you're in a hurry. The result? The Big Boy Classic feels more like a range queen than a true working rifle. Admittedly, the shooting experience is pleasant. Smooth cycling, gentle recoil, and more than decent accuracy at 100 yards. This rifle really belongs above a fireplace or as the centerpiece of your collection rather than as a tool for serious hunters or those who expect speed in a pinch. It's a beauty pageant winner, not a brawler. So, if you want to wow your friends with its looks, absolutely go for it. But if you want something light, fast, and practical for the field, the Big Boy will leave you wishing for less brass and more grit. Coming up at number 3, we have a rifle that takes classic look, modern headache to the next level. The Uberti 1873. There's no denying, Uberti nails the Old West vibe. The case-hardened receiver, polished walnut, all the trappings of a cowboy legend. It's a crowd stopper at any event, perfect for collectors or cowboy action shooting fans. But pick it up for real-world reliability, and the cracks in the foundation start to show. Let's talk about those screws, infamously soft and unforgiving. One slip of your screwdriver and you'll strip them faster than you can say gunsmith. Most shooters swap them out immediately, because sooner or later, you will have to disassemble this rifle for routine maintenance or repairs. Think about this. Shouldn't a premium-priced gun come with hardware built to last? And while it's chambered in both .357 Magnum and .38 Special, it often stumbles hard feeding those lighter .38 rounds. Imagine getting jam after jam with ammo. You specifically bought the rifle to shoot. But that's not all. The metal inside is softer than you'd expect, leading to rapid wear and tear if you're a gunslinger in competitions or a regular at the range internals wear. Parts need frequent replacement, and unless you upgrade or polish with aftermarket kits or send it off to a specialist, you'll likely be disappointed right out of the box. For the price? That stings. The 1873 is a gun that, with a bunch of work, has real potential. Yet at its hefty price tag, shouldn't performance be ready to go on day one? For the Uber T 1873, the answer is heartbreakingly not really. Here's the sad reality. This rifle is closer to a museum piece than a trusted tool. Display it, admire it, maybe run it in a few competitions after upgrades. Just don't count on it for fast, flawless field action right from the factory. Now, things start to get personal. Number 2 is the Marlin 1894C from the infamous Remington era, or as some folks dubbed them, the dreaded Remlins. Let's travel back to 2007, when Remington bought out Marlin. There was real hope in the air. The Marlin name, after all, was legendary for building lever actions that cycled like butter, shot straight, and stood the test of time. But after the buyout, quality control nosedived straight off a cliff. Imagine buying a new rifle, famous name, solid reputation, and then unboxing a gun that has crooked barrels, misaligned sights, shoddy wood fit, and machining so rough it's hard to believe it passed inspection at all. But the worst was the feeding issues. Right out of the box, jams, double feeds, and outright failures to chamber were shockingly common. For a lever action, where the whole appeal is rapid, reliable cycling, these kinds of failures are hard to forgive. Sure, some handy owners tried to fix things by themselves, with varying success. But here's the problem. Rifles shouldn't leave the factory needing a home. Gunsmith just to work right. Consistency became the problem. Buy a Remlin, and you never knew what you'd get. Some rifles worked okay, others were disasters. And unless you were an expert familiar with all the tells, you could walk right into a gun shop, buy a lemon, and find yourself dealing with headaches for years. Now, fair's fair. Ruger has since revived the Marlin legacy, and current rifles are reportedly fantastic. But those old Remlins? They still show up in used racks or online auctions, waiting to catch the unsuspecting buyer. If you get tempted by a used 1894C, check that serial number. Anything made from 2007 to around 2019 could be a problem child. Inspect the action. Do your research, because nobody deserves to own a rifle where legendary reliability gave way to legendary frustration. And finally, sitting at number 1, we have what might be the most controversial pick on this list. The Winchester Model 94AE in .357. Magnum for most shooters, the Winchester 94 is the American lever action. Links to generations of cowboys and stories. But when chambered for the .357 Magnum, it's a classic case of great rifle, bad fit. The original Model 94 was designed in the 1890s to shoot long rifle cartridges, not the short, stubby pistol rounds like .357. When Winchester adapted it for the .357, they were forcing a square peg into a round hole. The result? Feeding issues galore. The .357. Magnum doesn't move smoothly through the action. Hang-ups are routine, misfeeds frequent, and the overall cycle feels stiff and awkward, about as far from slick and fast as you can get. Balance is another issue. This rifle feels bulky and front-heavy, robbing you of that nimble, quick shoulder feel you want from a pistol-caliber carbine. For fast follow-up shots or rapid handling, the 94AE just doesn't deliver. The build quality is undeniably solid, and Winchester's legacy is strong, but when comparing to other .357 lever guns, this one lags behind badly. That's how the Model 94AE in .357 earned its spot as our #1 unreliable lever gun that's sure to get you in trouble. So, why do so many .357 lever actions fall short? It all comes down to compromise. Adapting classic designs, built for longer cartridges, to modern Magnum rounds or cheaper manufacturing standards has left some rifles lacking. Sometimes it's sheer weight, other times it's feeding mechanics, rough internals, or just plain bad luck at the factory. Choose the wrong one, and you're in for a world of jams, misfires, or slow reloads right when you need speed the most. Some of the rifles on this list can be improved with aftermarket parts, professional tuning, or just hours of patience and tinkering. But remember, upgrades cost time and money. If your heart is set on vintage charm, go in with open eyes and perhaps a few tools at the ready. If your priority is flawless reliability, consider chasing down newer models with rigorous, transparent quality control. Now, one last word about collector mentality. There's nothing wrong with loving a rifle for its looks, its historical value, or its status as a conversation starter. But never forget, some of these guns earned their bad reputations for reasons that live on long after the first shot. History teaches us what to expect, and the lesson here is clear. Do your homework, test every function before you buy, and never let style blind you to substance. Why trust reviews like these? Because behind every jammed lever, every stovepipe, every bruised hand from heavy unbalanced stock, there's a shooter who learned the hard way, so you don't have to. Maybe you still have fond memories of that one lever action that never let you down. Maybe you're dreaming of your first. Either way, don't let nostalgia or shiny stocks fool you. Buy with clear eyes, test with honest hands, and demand performance from every round. So, which of these rifles do you think is the worst offender? Have you had a battle with one of these notorious jammers? Or did you defy the odds and get a flawless example? Jump into the discussion. When the words lever action come up, most folks picture saddle scabbards, John Wayne, and 30-30s doing work on deer or hogs. Or maybe the real bruisers chambered in 45-70, the kind of rifle that feels like it kicks back with a grudge. But there's a forgotten champion in the lever game that deserves way more attention. The .357. Magnum. So here they are, the top 5.357 Magnum lever action rifles you need to see. Number 5. The Rossi R92, the blue-collar boss. Let's kick things off with a true workhorse, the Rossi R92. If there's a lever gun equivalent of a no-nonsense blue-collar pickup truck, this is it. It doesn't need frills, it doesn't want attention, it just wants to get the job done and maybe hit steel on the way home. The Rossi R92 traces its DNA back to the iconic Winchester 1892. That's already a solid start. But what Rossi did was take that classic platform and make it affordable and approachable, available in stainless or blued finishes, and your choice of a 16-inch or 20-inch barrel. This rifle gives you options whether you want a compact brush gun or a bit more sight radius. And here's the deal. It's lightweight, it's handy. Once it's broken in, the action cycles with surprising smoothness. Side-loading gate? Check tube magazine? Of course. And it eats both. .357 and .38. Special like candy. There's something seriously satisfying about running light. .38s for casual shooting and then swapping in hot .357s when it's time for business. No, it's not going to win any beauty pageants, and the factory trigger is, let's just say it's functional. But here's where the Rossi really shines. Value. At around $700 or even less, this rifle punches above its weight. Whether it's riding in the truck, bouncing around in a side-by-side, or tagging along for a hike, it handles abuse without complaint. And if you're into customizing, the R92 has an aftermarket just waiting to be explored. Smoother action kits, upgraded sights, even wood furniture swaps. It's a tinkerer's playground. Think of it as your gateway lever gun. Reliable, affordable, and surprisingly fun to run. The Rossi R92 may be rough around the edges, but it's all heart. Number 4. Henry Big Boy X Model. Tactical meets traditional. Now let's move into something with a bit more modern flair. The Henry Big Boy X Model. This isn't your granddad's lever gun. Unless he's running nods and has a suppressor in his safe. The X Model is where tradition meets tactical, and it does it surprisingly well. Henry took the proven Big Boy platform and gave it a serious facelift. Gone is the polished brass and walnut. In its place, a black synthetic stock M-lock slots up front, a Picatinny rail for optics, and yes, a threaded barrel. You want to run suppressed .38 specials out of this thing? Go right ahead. It's whisper quiet and endlessly entertaining. This rifle balances like a dream. The synthetic stock keeps the weight down without feeling flimsy. The lever throw is smooth, like all Henrys, and it cycles faster than you'd expect from a platform this chunky. The side-loading gate finally solves the old Henry gripe, and now topping off the tube mid-range session is effortless. The X Model feels like it was built with home defense in mind. It shoulders fast, it's easy to maneuver indoors, and those 9 rounds of .357 Magnum are ready to handle business if needed. Add an optic for precision. Keep it iron if you're keeping it simple. Either way, the modularity means this rifle can grow with you. But here's what makes it really stand out. It's versatile. Hog hunting? Done. Property defense? Ready. Fun at the range with suppressed .38s? Absolutely. The X Model gives you the modern features without abandoning the lever gun soul. Some folks joke that it looks like a lever gun that raided a tactical gear catalog. But here's the thing, it works. And if you're someone who wants the old-school action with a touch of modern attitude, the Henry Big Boy X is one to watch. And it doesn't stop at performance. This rifle feels good in the hands. The rubber recoil pad eats up what little kick point .357 has, making follow-up shots snappy and smooth. The M-lock forend isn't just for show, it's ready for lights, lasers, grips, whatever your setup demands. It also makes a great truck gun. Compact enough to tuck behind the seat, durable enough to take a beating, and powerful enough to handle just about anything you'd run into out on the back roads. It brings cowboy charm with a modern twist, and people notice when it hits the bench. The action gets even slicker with use, and it responds well to a little tuning if you're the DIY type. Add a red dot, and you've got a lever gun that transitions from brush gun to bedside rifle in seconds. It doesn't beg for attention. It earns respect with every lever pull. And for those who still think lever guns are stuck in the past, this one shuts that argument down with authority. It brings old-world reliability into a 21st century role, all without losing what makes lever actions great in the first place. Whether you're into practical upgrades or full tactical loadouts, this Henry is ready to ride. It's built to be used, not babied, and it holds up to real-world conditions like a champ. The finish resists scratches. The controls feel tight. It's one of those guns that invites confidence. And if you're pairing it with a .357 revolver, now you're talking a match made in heaven. 2 guns, 1 caliber, endless possibilities. This kind of duality is what makes the platform so unique and why the X Model continues to gain traction among enthusiasts and new shooters alike. It's the kind of rifle that makes people stop and ask questions, especially when they hear it run. That unmistakable lever clack, combined with a suppressed pop. Pure joy. It brings a grin, whether you're knocking over steel or dialing in at 50 yards. And even though it's modern, it still has that lever gun soul, something mechanical, something nostalgic, something that just feels right. The X Model proves that heritage and innovation don't have to clash. In fact, when done right, they make each other better. So if the idea of blending cowboy roots with modular customization sounds good, the Henry Big Boy X Model is exactly where that fusion lives. It's the future of lever guns, and it's here right now. Not as a gimmick, but as a serious option for shooters who want more than tradition. Number 3. Marlin 1894. Classic, a comeback story. Next up is a comeback kid that came back swinging. The Marlin 1894 Classic in-point .357 Magnum. After some dark years under Remington's shaky stewardship, Ruger took the reins and didn't just revive the Marlin brand, they refined it. The new production, 1894 Classic, feels like it came out of a time machine, in the best way possible. Rich walnut stocks, deep blued steel, and a lever throw that's tight and responsive. It keeps the traditional look alive but ditches all the QC issues that plagued earlier models. Short stroke lever? Check. Side-loading gate? Absolutely. Factory iron sights that actually hit where they're aimed? Finally, there's no weird looseness or gritty machining. This rifle is built like it means business. Chambered in point, .357 Magnum, it handles like a dream. Light recoil, impressive accuracy, and the kind of balance that makes it easy to shoot all day. And let's not overlook how good this thing looks. It has that classic American sporting rifle vibe, but it performs like a modern precision tool. Whether it's deer in the woods, coyotes in the pasture, or just making old-school range buddies a little jealous, the 1894 Classic gets it done with style. And it doesn't need a single piece of polymer to prove it. This rifle is proof that old school can still throw hands. For anyone chasing that traditional lever feel, with modern reliability, this Marlin delivers. Number 2. Chiappa Alaskan, the Scout of the Future. Alright, now for something a little different. The Chiappa Alaskan in point, .357. Magnum doesn't just think outside the box, it lives there. This rifle has a rubberized stock, ghost ring sights, and a Scout-style rail system that screams backcountry operator. Made in Italy, but clearly designed with rugged American use in mind, the Alaskan features a 16-inch barrel, a threaded muzzle, and a finish that laughs in the face of bad weather. Whether it's hard chrome or Cerakote, this rifle is built to be beat up, tossed in a truck, hiked up a mountain, and still perform flawlessly. It handles fast. It points naturally. And with .357 rounds, recoil is barely a whisper. Pair it with subsonic .38 and a suppressor, and it gets even quieter. Whether you're stalking hogs prepping for the unknown or just want something that stands out at the range, the Alaskan fits. This rifle feels like it belongs in a movie. The kind where someone clears a cabin in the woods with a flashlight zip-tied to the barrel. But here's the kicker. It's not just about looks, it's practical, it's tough, and it runs like a champ. Perfect for bug-out bags, camp defense, or just flexing on your range buddies, the Chiappa Alaskan is for shooters who want something off the beaten path. It's not cheap, but it's worth it. Number 1. Marlin 1894. Dark Series, Tactical Excellence. Taking the top spot is a rifle that combines everything good about .357 Magnum lever guns and wraps it in blacked-out attitude. Meet the Marlin 1894 Dark Series. This is what happens when tactical meets traditional, and it actually works. From the factory, it comes with black painted hardwood furniture, a threaded barrel, and a full-length rail with ghost ring sights. But the details matter here. That paracord-wrapped lever isn't just for looks, it adds grip and comfort, especially when cycling quickly. This rifle is tailor-made for home defense. It's light, it's maneuverable, and with a suppressor and subsonic .38s, it's crazy quiet. Like, don't wake the dog, quiet, but swap in .357 hollow points, and it's ready for serious work. Everything about the Dark Series feels dialed in. The balance, the finish, the speed of the action. It handles like a tool, not a toy. And unlike some rifles that lean too hard into tactical territory, this one delivers on performance, not just appearance. Whether it's clearing brush or clearing hallways, this rifle excels, and it's rugged enough to ride in a pack or behind a truck seat without worry. It doesn't just look tactical, it is tactical, and that's why it's number 1. Bonus picks, hidden gems and collector favorites. A few rifles didn't make the top 5, but they're still absolutely worth a look. First up, the Uber T 1873 short rifle. A gorgeous Italian-made reproduction of the original Winchester 1873. This is cowboy action in its purest form. Toggle link action, silky lever throw, and craftsmanship that feels more like art than engineering. It's not modern, it's not tactical, but it is unbelievably smooth and fun to shoot. Then there's the Henry Big Boy Steel Carbine. For those who love classic styling but want rock-solid performance, this is the sweet spot. Walnut and steel construction, side-loading gate, and Henry's proven reliability. It's a no-nonsense rifle that delivers on every front. Lastly, the Citadel Levtac 92. Picture a Rossi R92, but tricked out with an M-Loke handguard. It's a modular platform that gives you tactical flexibility without breaking the bank. Think of it as a budget-friendly X-model alternative with a little more spice. So why .357 Magnum in a lever gun? Because it's the perfect blend of power, control, and versatility. Light recoil, dual caliber capability with .38 special, and plenty of punch for everything from home defense to medium game hunting. And there's just something special about the lever action itself. The mechanical feedback, the rhythm, the history. It's American gun culture distilled into one slick package. Whether you're picking up your first lever gun or adding another to the safe, there's a .357 lever rifle that fits the bill. From tactical setups to heritage classics, from budget-friendly beaters to high-end heirlooms, this platform refuses to be boxed in. So, what's in your safe? Got a Rossi that runs like a dream? A Henry that holds it down on hogs? Or maybe a Marlin Dark that's your go-to home defense piece? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk rifles. Let's argue respectfully like good red-blooded lever gun nerds. If this kind of content hits the mark, deep dives, spicy takes, and actual useful info, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell like it owes you money. More lever gun content, suppressed builds, and caliber showdowns are coming fast. And until next time, keep your powder dry, your lever loop big, and your .357s ready.